What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another training. In this training specifically, I'm going to show you how to become the creator of your life. So if you're feeling stuck, burnt out, unfulfilled, sad, or lost, and you want to step into the power that you know you have, if you want to build your dream life, your body, and just live a life of fulfillment, of joy, this is going to be for you today. Now, if you're on Spotify, guys, I really recommend you switch over to YouTube because it's going to be a visual training today. Now, let's dive right into it. So, how's you ever gone through this pattern right here before where you start a journey, you start a plan, a diet, or a business path or a business, or you pursue somebody, whatever it may be, and you're on this path, but then you always hit this resistance, and for some reason you find yourself back at square one over and over and over again, and nothing really ever seems to change long term. Well, welcome to about 90% of plus of people. Because did you know that over about 90% plus of people fail when it comes to most kind of changes in their lives? My mission is to change that and to help empower you to get away from our past programming and to become the creator of your life. So, how do we do this? We got to first realize what is the resistance in the way. Is it because you're not good enough? Is it because you suck? Is it because you're broken? No, it's none of that. Okay. Easiest way to prove that is that if you look at what you want in your life and where you're at, and you're making up these excuses why you can't get there, or these feelings, or these beliefs, or whatever it may be, you got to realize this. There's probably someone who started off worse off than you are now, who has exactly what you want. That's all the proof that you need in human potential and power. So let's move on. So, what is the problem? Okay. After the past 9 years of studying this stuff and being obsessed with how to create our dreams and creating my own literal dream life and dream self, I've narrowed it down to this. It comes down to your limiting beliefs, your habits slash patterns and programs that you have about yourself. Because up until the age of 7, we have mirroring neurons. We are an open sponge. We are sucking up everything. Society, culture, people, beliefs, parents, family. We're sucking in everything. And eventually we create an ego, an identity. It becomes more solid. And then we go to school, we learn different things, but usually there comes a time where we don't really learn much more and we don't really change and we get kind of stuck in our ways. And then that comes to subconscious mind. We live 95% of our lives through our subconscious mind. So we're barely ever conscious. That's why you can drive to work in the morning and you're in la la land daydreaming, but you don't hit the neighbor's dog. It's why you have that consistent pattern of stress eating at nighttime or the self sabotage when you start making a lot of money, whatever it may be. These are all in our subconscious mind. These are all patterns, programs, beliefs, habits, traumas that are stuck in there. The reason why is because your brain wants to conserve energy, so it creates habits, right, in a subconscious mind. But also because your brain wants you for one thing, it wants you to survive and stay safe and secure. How do you stay safe and secure? You do what's known. You stick to your comfort zone. That's why when you step out of your comfort zone, it's uncomfortable because you're stepping into the unknown and the brain is saying, hey, scary, don't go out there. I want you to live. Come back. It's our animalistic programming. Okay. But we're smart enough now to realize that that is our animalistic programming. Okay. Trying to keep just our beautiful brains just trying to keep us safe and secure. So, yes, it is doing a great job, but it's also not helping you feel better and change yourself, build the confidence, build the dream life that you want. Right. So, we have to deal with that. So, how do we find success in our lives? Well, it comes down to this. I give credit, full credit to David Bayer for teaching me this process in his book, in his trainings. Very, very good stuff. And we're going to go farther and farther and farther on why it makes sense. So, your core belief systems that you have are producing the constant thoughts that you have daily. Did you know over about, I think it's like 90% of our thoughts, over 90% of our thoughts daily are repetitive, and about 80% plus of them are negative. And your brain doesn't know if it's in the future, past, or future of the past or whatever. It just experiences everything right now. So if you relive past trauma over and over again, your poor body and brain, you're dealing with that over and over and over and over again. And this is why a lot of us are living to survive, but we're not living to thrive. So how do we break this, right? How do we break this? Because your consistent thoughts then, after held for about 7 seconds or so, will produce an emotion. And like it or not, over time, your emotions do influence how you take action. If you feel confident, you're going to dress differently. right? I got off a client call, and she was feeling so confident. She got this brand new dress when she was going to wear a suit and pants to her wedding, her daughter's wedding. But she's feeling so confident that she got the dress that she wanted, and she feels amazing in it. So your emotions over time will influence how you show up and take action in this world. Okay. And your actions always give you a reaction, which is a result. So that's kind of how the process works there. That's how David explains it. Now, as Joe Dispenza explains it, a thought and emotion over time, neurons that fire together will wire together. So a thought and emotion over time creates an identity, a behavior. Okay. Because we take action based off our identity. If you don't believe me, look at politics, right? Either if you're Trump, Biden, whatever it may be, doesn't matter, but you take action based off your identity. All right. So if you believe, if you identify with one side, you'll vote for that one side, right? So a thought and emotion over time creates an identity. Because remember, your brain doesn't know if it's in the past, the future, if it's real or it's fake. It's just experiencing everything right now. So if you keep thinking and feeling like I am a very successful person, I am a very successful person, over time, you will actually convince yourself you are a very successful person. You will think and you'll feel that way. And then it will influence how you show up in the world and take action. And different actions, different results. And over time, you'll have a different life. So, an example here is, let's say for business growth, let's say somebody wants to start a business, but they have a core belief system that they're not good enough. You know what's going to happen is that this is going to be their belief system, is that I'm not good enough. Okay. And then what do you think they're going to be thinking? My content's not that good. That person's doing way better than me. I'm not worthy of this. Why am I even doing what I'm doing? I have a major self-sabotaging thought. So they're already dealing with that crap right there. That's holding them back from their potential, right? And you know how like you can kind of read someone's energy if someone's confident or not, or if they know what they're talking about. Yeah, people are going to see that as well. So automatically your business is going to be affected because people are going to feel that energy. You're not good enough. And they don't want to work with somebody who's not good enough, right? So we're going to think that way. Eventually, it's going to influence how we are feeling. And over time, when you're thinking that way and feeling that way and you beat yourself down, most people can't last. All right. And it will beat them down to the ground until eventually they start to self-sabotage, they give up, or they quit. Like, let's say, for example, someone comes up with them with a speaking event, but then they believe they're not good enough. They're going to find a way to self-sabotage. How that's going to show in their world is they're going to procrastinate on it. They're not going to answer back to the person in time. They're going to cancel. They're not going to go at all. And they're going to lose that amazing opportunity. And then the result is they fail. They prove themselves right that they're not good enough. But in reality, that's not universally true. That belief that they have of themselves is not universally true. They were not born into this world not good enough. So somewhere down the line in their life, someone told them this, or life experiences or whatever it may be, they had a belief that they're not good enough that's running their lives. But the truth is that they're already good enough. One of the mantras I love is I am who I am, and that is enough. Because imagine if it was good enough. I am good enough. And you feel that. You believe that. They're going to think this content's really good. I'm going to keep making more of it. I'm going to keep studying the other people's content. I'm going to change it up, right? And then they're going to feel better about themselves. So they're going to come off better. And then they're going to take different actions. And they're going to be way more consistent with their action. Guess what? That person there is going to get a different result. So same thing with a body goal will set, right? Let's say the belief is I am a fat person. Okay, so you grew up, you were always overweight, your whole family told you you're bigger boned, and you genuinely have a belief I am a fat person. Okay, I am an overweight person. I can never change. Nothing ever works for me. Whatever it may be, we'll say I am an overweight person, I am a fat person. Okay, and that's what they believe about themselves. So, what are they going to be thinking? Ah, you're not good enough. What's the point? Why even try this new plan? You failed before. Why even try? Right? And then that's going to influence how they feel. And the biggest problem I see with a lot of people with weight loss, any goal, honestly, in general, is that we take action based off our negative feelings. And what I mean by that is we take action based off fear, doubt. And then I'm telling you is that if you want a different result in your life, you need to start acting and showing up differently. So if you are, let's say, for example, I've seen this a lot of times, and I feel hard for these people. I've had many people want to work with me. And when it comes time to invest in themselves and putting in the actual action to move forward, they back out. Even if it's the best plan in the world, sometimes once in a while, they'll back out. And I feel for those people because what they're doing is they're taking action based off their old self, the doubtful self, who's like, it's not going to work. What's the point? I'm too scared of investing in myself because what if I fail? Well, let me tell you one thing. Does the person who you want to be, is that how they show up? No. So why are you showing up like that? Do you want to keep getting the same result? Because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a change. Mind you, I'm coming off like this because I'm very passionate about this, guys. I have no anger or no judgment, by the way. Like, I love you all. I want to see you all win. But this is the real deal stuff. So they feel that way, right? And they take action that way, and they get the same results. But what if they showed up as, I am a fit and healthy person, and they start thinking that way, and they start feeling like a fit and healthy person? So then they move forward that uncomfortable feeling of, I don't want to go to the gym because I'm uncomfortable because of the way I look. No, I'm a fit and healthy person. What do? They feel confident. I'm going to go to the gym today. I'm going to sign up for that program. Why? Because the fit and healthy version of me would do that. They know that they're stuck and they need that help. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to act off abundance, the highest version of myself, the person who I actually want to be. And they're going to get a whole different result. Could be the same person, just different belief system. Now, let's take a step farther. Albert Einstein said something along the lines of, you match the frequency of what it is that you want and you cannot help but get it. The man here was talking about the quantum field and how everything works when Nikola Tesla talks about how if only you knew about energy, frequency, and vibration, your whole life would change. Something along the lines there. It's so true. How our entire world is built up, whatever your belief system can be, it doesn't really matter. But our entire world is built up. Everything at the end of the day is energy. All right. And within energy, every single thing vibrates. And then everything has a certain frequency, a certain tune it's tapped into. And how this works on a quantum field is you look at the quantum field, okay? On the quantum field, what they show is that everything is potential. It's all just energy and it's all just potentials. But you as a person, they prove this through the observational effect. When you put your focus and energy, when you put your focus and energy into something, like let's say you visualize your dream self, your goal self, living that life, and you feel it, and you genuinely see it, you believe it, you feel it, you're walking around embodying as them. What happens on the quantum field, I kid you not, what happens is that you collapse that potential into a reality. So now there is a certain reality out there of that vision with your energy and focus, with intention. Like becomes a class potential into a reality. So look up the observer effect for more details on that. Now that is a reality, here's what you got to realize. If you want to live that way and be that person, the person that you want to be, they only think, feel, believe, and act differently, right? We can all agree on that. And then there's a little bit of time, right, to get there. So how that works is if you want to shift into the person that you want to be, they're living on a different frequency. What I mean by this is your frequency as a human being comes off of your most dominant emotional state. That's the state that you're putting into the world. So here's an example. Let's say there's two people. One believes they're lucky, one believes they're not lucky. So one is living off of an abundant, lucky, everything works out for me frequency. Okay, so they're tapped in, they're tuned into that channel. Opportunities are going to come into their lives and they're going to believe that way about themselves, right? They're going to feel that way. So they're going to see this opportunity and they're going to take action on it. And then they're going to get the result eventually in their life of more luck. More luck is going to happen in their life because guess what? That's all they're focused on, right? You go buy that red car. Now you see the red car everywhere. The red car was always there, but now you're focused in on it. This is why I feel for people who struggle with a negative mindset because it's all they focus on. Even though there might be positivity going around them, it's filtered out because the mind's only focused on that. We're tapped into that frequency. So, and a lucky person will find lucky opportunities because that's what they're focused on. They'll take action on it because they believe they're lucky. So even if they fail, it doesn't matter because to them, it's just like, I'm getting one more step closer to winning, right? Because that's their belief system. But an unlucky person, they might have the same opportunities pop up, but guess what they're going to? It's a scam. That's a scam. Or they won't even get the opportunities pop up. It won't even pop up in their field because they're focused on a different frequency. But let's say they do pop up. All right. And they're going to come up to them and be like, well, nah, that's a scam. That doesn't work. It's never going to work. No, they won't take action on it. Right. Lose or win, doesn't matter. Nah, nothing ever works out for me. I'm not a lucky person. And they're going to keep living that way and get that reality. Nah, you don't get it though, man. Caden, you don't get it. Nothing ever works out for me. Oh, I believe you. I believe you. But it doesn't have to be like that. So, how do we change it? All we have to change is, like Albert Einstein says, our dominant frequency. You tap into the frequency of the person that you want to be, and you cannot help but get it. And here's how it works. You got to tune into it. So how do you tune into it? Through your most dominant emotion. Okay. And as Joe Dispenza says, how you change your identity is through thought and emotion over time. Right. And when you consistently do that, eventually you change your identity. So that's going to be your dominant state of being, your dominant emotional state of being. And mind you, if you don't believe you can change, look into neuroplasticity. We have the power to change our mind. We have the power to change who we are, how we are, and who we're going to become. So with your dominant emotion, that is giving off the frequency. So here is the ascending spiral of frequency. Okay. And at the top is like abundance, authenticity, love, joy. That is the dominant, that is the highest vibrating frequency. Okay. That's the highest frequency. On the lower end is fear, sadness, anger, doubt, all those things. Those are lower vibrations, lower frequencies. Okay. So if you want to shift and change your life, if you want to step into becoming that person of who you want to be, you need to change your dominant emotion because that is tied into your frequency. And if you look back on what we just talked about, how do we change our dominant emotion? Well, thought and emotion over time, right? Because most of the time we only feel the way we feel about ourselves because number one, we expect our future to be the same as our past, or we're living in our future or the past. We're not being in the present moment, right? Or the consistent thoughts that we have of ourselves, we're believing in them. But you are not your thoughts. You are so much more. So these neuron pathways are so ingrained because we've been thinking and feeling this way about ourselves so long that we believe that's who we are. And we generally are that way. And we suffer and we suffer and we suffer. But what is suffering? Suffering resistance. Suffering is resistance. It's a signal, a sign that you were unaligned. It's saying, hey, this is not you. This is not the way you want to be. It's a signal to get into more alignment with your true self. This is why I'm dedicating my life to helping people follow their dreams and become their dream selves, because that is a line of fulfillment, alignment, joy, and that is a life where you can create and not suffer from your past programming. So that is the training for today that I'm going to leave you guys off with. Now, what I would recommend you do today, moving forward, a quick action step. I also have a free course. If you want to watch the free course, just comment down below or click the link in the YouTube description. But I would say do this to start out with. Me now and goal me. And I want you to get dominant on how their actions are, their thoughts, their beliefs, and their feelings. And I want you to state down what is the dominant feeling that they have, the emotion, right? Because that's the frequency. And then me now, I want you to find your patterns. Okay, so patterns could be like, here's an example for an old pattern I used to have about money. I used to have a belief system that money was very overwhelming and stressful and hard to make, just the way I grew up. That's the way I believed about money. So again, your brain will always prove yourself right because the brain wants to keep you safe and secure. So that is in my subconscious mind. So for example, whenever I would make a large sum of money in my life or a financial breakthrough, I would find a way to create chaos and stress and struggle in my life because that's what I believed, right? So I'd find a way to make it true no matter what. It wasn't until I realized this pattern where I really deeply reflect on, hey, why is this consistently happening in my life? And then I found the limiting belief, I changed the limiting belief, and then the next time an opportunity came up for this pattern to happen, I broke it. I broke the pattern. I didn't fall back into old fear-based, overwhelming, chaotic programming. I stayed conscious. I put the energy into it, and I changed my beliefs and my patterns moving forward. So the next time around, when I make the extra money, where it may be, I'm not going to fall back into chaos because that old pattern doesn't exist. And mind you, you might be sitting here, but like money is hard to make, overwhelming. No, that's not universally true, though. Many people in your life might have told you that, but it's not universally true. If it was true, then the hard freaking workers who are doing cement work and stuff would be the billionaires, but they're not. So that just shows you right there. So that's an example of how society puts us in these limiting beliefs and these programs that do not serve us. So find your patterns. Next thing is find limiting beliefs. Okay, habits as well. So like overeating, so sabotage, procrastination, those are all habits. And I would say just anything extra when it comes to where you're at now that can help you get clear on who you want to be. And if you want some more further help with this, I get a course, and you can also sign up for help whenever you need it. In the course, there's also an application sheet, or you can follow me on Caden.Hayward on Instagram and just message me if you want some support. But that's the training for today. I would love to hear you guys' honest opinions and feedback on how you feel about this. This is my mission. So I'd love to hear what you guys think. And thank you for watching. I hope this helped you, and I'll see you guys all on the next training.